few years back, my guest today hit one of the hardest stretches of his life. He landed in a dark place. And as guys, we find that happening occasionally in our life, and we want to avoid that as much as possible. This is the kind that most people don't actually ever share with anyone, and Nicky actually has. And it caused him to change a lot. One phone call to a friend pulled him out of it, and he walked into a room full of strangers, guys that were looking to lift each other up. And that room changed him. In 2018, he started his own group. It became a movement called Sovereign Men. Nicky Billou is a two-time New York Times bestselling author with hundreds of podcast experiences. But that is not why he's here today. He's here because we're going to be talking about what he understands most about men, and we need to get this out. And that's one of the undertones of what we're doing here on this podcast. And you can't carry it all alone. You have to stay strong. You have to step up as a man, and a brotherhood is something that he has really been able to foster and appreciate. And I too am looking to be around like-minded men as well. And that's one of the 5 pillars of my program. So Nicky Billou, welcome to our podcast. This is episode 135 of Driven for Health. So thank you for coming. And I want you to light us up here. What is one actionable takeaway these guys listening in need to hear about our conversation?
Brian, thanks for having me on the show. It's a really real honor to be here. And you're doing great work, man. Keep it up.
Thank
you.
You.
You know, for a great question. Before I answer it, let me tell my backstory a little bit.
Yeah, please.
How I got into men's work. So years ago, I was married and had 2 kids with this woman. And I thought our marriage was good. But seemingly out of the blue, she decided we shouldn't be married anymore. Shocked me.
Yeah,
Sent me into a negative spiral. And I blamed everybody but myself for that. And it was not a good time, and it was not a good place. But a couple of things happened that helped begin the turnaround process. So one is there was a woman I knew who had been a instructor in a program I'd done, and that program was a pretty intense program. And you know, we got to know each other well, and she was somebody I liked and I trusted. And I told her about all this, and she knew my ex-wife because we actually met in her program. And she came to me and she said, "You need to go work with this man, Owen Williams. He runs a men's group, but he also helps men in relationship distress." So I went to see Owen, signed up for his men's group, and started working with him one-on-one about my relationship distress. And that was my real introduction to being in group with other men. And what I learned was a man in pain can only have his pain removed by other men. It's not going to happen by a woman.
Or by yourself, because you're sitting in despair.
That was an eye-opener for me because, you know, all my life I'd been around, you know, my mother and other women that I dated, etc. And I thought that, you know, something goes wrong, you go to your mom or you go to a woman, she kisses it better and you move on. But that wasn't
right.
That wasn't happening. And
right.
I was in this group for a solid year and 3/4. And it was a paid group, right? So I paid good money to be a member of this group. And it was not easy. It was tough. These men were there to sharpen me, not coddle me.
Right.
And vice versa. And Owen and I would see each other one-on-one at least once a week. And he'd give me coaching. And I then joined another group after being in this one for a year and 3/4. And I became more into that group than Owen's group. First of all, it was not a paid group. It was volunteers. And, you know, at the time that was helpful because money was tight, very tight. But secondly, the group, if anything, was full of men that were more more masculine than these other men, less emotional, but more determined to not let me buy my own bullshit.
Right.
And after 2 years almost with Owen's group, and then a solid 3+ years with this group, I found myself in a weekend men's retreat that the group had put together with a bunch of other groups. And that was a paid event, although not an expensive paid event, but it was a paid event. And there was a fella in there that I just didn't like, rubbed me the wrong way.
Hmm.
He was an asshole, just to tell you the truth.
Just call it the way it is, right?
Yeah, he was an asshole. Me first, self-centered piece of you know what.
Mm.
But he did me a great service while we were in this course because he got under my skin to the point where I got up and I was ready to deck him. Bunch of men grabbed me. I just let me at him. But they were having none of it. And he said something while they were holding on to me. He said, when are you going to stop blaming yourself for the breakup of your marriage? And my white hot anger started to dissipate when he said that because that question hit me hard. And then he said, when are you going to stop blaming your ex? And then the anger dissipated some more. He says, when are you just going to take responsibility? Not like you did something awful, but just responsibility that you did it. When are you going to start taking the first step to healing? And then I collapsed. All the anger was out of me, and I just started bawling like a
Right.
baby. And all these men are standing around. They weren't sure what to think because one minute I was ready to
Right.
deck this man. The next minute I'm lying down on the floor and bawling. And after it seemed like forever, but it couldn't have been more than 5 or 10 minutes. Um, I just said, you know what? I'm done blaming her. Done blaming me. And I take full responsibility for what happened. And I felt a weight lift off of me.
Yeah.
At that moment, the instructors chose to call a break. Now, this
Right.
this group, when you walked in the room, you turned off your cell phone and you handed it in. Cell phone
Right.
was not allowed to be on; it had to be off and handed in.
And away. Right.
Hand it in. Like you did not get to keep your phone and walk into the room. You turned it
That's
off in
smart.
front of the man and you handed it to him and he put your
Yep.
name on it and
That's
put it
good.
away.
Yeah.
And so at the break, we got our phones back for the break. And I grabbed my phone and I turned it on. The instant I turned it on, a call was coming through. And it was my ex.
Oh, wow.
We had not spoken in over a year.
Wow. Oof, I'm getting some good
And
energy here. Wow.
and I went, hello. And she didn't say anything. I heard her sobbing and crying, and,
Mm.
she just said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "For what?" And she said, "I, I've been trying to punish you, hurt you, and, that's wrong of me. You're a good man, um, and, even though we didn't work out, you don't deserve this, and, I'm gonna stop doing that." And she says, "I'm gonna sign the divorce papers." The divorce papers had been, in limbo for 2
Oh,
years.
wow.
Everything had been agreed to, she just wouldn't sign them. So she finally signed them, and the divorce went through. Now you got to understand, this was a walking, talking miracle, man. God Almighty um, brought me
Hmm.
to a place with a man that I intensely disliked, man I wanted to deck,
Hmm.
and through this imperfect messenger gave me a message, which I accepted, and that message energetically, the moment it got accepted, caused a shift energetically in her, and she picked up the phone and called me.
Yeah, that's
Like,
incredible.
that is divine intervention of the highest order. And, you know, since that time, I became even more determined to live my own life in a certain way as a man, but to continue the work with men and help other men see what they needed to see. Now, not every man goes through a divorce. Not every man has those kinds of fights. Not every man gets married. Not every man has children.
Hmm.
But in this day and age, every man's going through something.
Yeah, very
This
much so.
world is pretty fucked up in the way that it treats men right now, and in particular in the West. And so, the message to the men listening to your show is really simple. You need other men. You're not going to figure it out on your own. You're not that smart. You're not that strong. You're not that creative or capable. And that is no knock on you. No man is. No man is. Brotherhood is how men grow, get better, succeed, make their relationships work. Brotherhood. In the last 60 years, the idea of men's brotherhoods has been utterly demolished by society, by this bullshit, ungodly, anti-human, anti-God, leftist claptrap, which has taken hold in our society. And if you're listening to this, your job is to push back against that shit and say, no, fuck that. I'm not buying a word you're saying. I'm going to figure things out for myself with like-minded men.
Yeah.
That's the message.
That you got to step up and take responsibility for yourself. No one's here to pick up after you, wipe your butt, and give you handouts. It's just not it. And if that's what you're expecting or looking for, then you're going to experience life on a much diminished level and not to its true capacity that you could have in this light and in this world that we have.
The problem with most men isn't that they're lacking the desire to take responsibility. The problem with most men is that they're alone. They're not in a brotherhood. They're not in a group. They don't have
Hmm.
any friends. They don't have any friends. The average American man today has zero friends.
I agree.
Zero friends. This isn't agreement or not agreement. This is statistical fact.
Yep.
Zero friends. That is a massive, massive problem.
Yep.
And I'm not
I'll even
talking.
throw myself in there, Mickey. I have a great friend from middle school. I still talk to him. He's coming in this barn here. We're gonna work out in about 2 hours. And I've seen him about 3 times this week. And we lift weights and we talk about life. He's got 4 kids, I have 4 kids, and there's just a lot of life that we've lived together. So he's Dan. I have Chris. Chris is another father of 4 that he comes and works out in this barn. And we use that as a communal place to be able to lift, share time together. Then I have Andy that I run with. But he's been really busy this summer. We would drop our kids off and go run and we'll pick that back up. And then I have Leo, who's a longtime high school friend. But after that, I don't have any. They're acquaintances, but I don't have any close relationships. And even it goes from highest, the first one, down to the lowest, the last one I said, of Dan, Chris, Andy, Leo, in terms of how much impact or time or energy that they have in my life. And it goes and it distills down. So because I'm got 4 kids, I'm self responsible for my kids, my wife, and for my business and this podcast and everything. So I'm busy. And that ends up being the rat race that we're in is falling into this provider role or just having to keep up with the hustle and make money and pay bills and all this stuff. So you just get very disconnected and deep lost in the problems that you're experiencing and have no one or anyone to share it with.
Well, it's great that you're friend with your high school buddies. That's unusual because most men
Yeah.
aren't. But candidly, it's not enough for them or for you. And let me just be blunt. You're probably a case of the blind leading the blind. You all need some older men who give a
Yeah.
shit about
Oh yeah.
you to tell you things that you just don't know and haven't experienced. And the
Mm-hmm.
4 of you trying to help one another do it is better than nothing. But
Right.
your peer, your direct peer doesn't have
Right.
the
We,
experiences
we are
you need
all
to
going
learn
through the
from.
same.
Right.
Yep.
You don't have the
Right.
experiences
Yeah.
you need to learn from.
Yeah.
And
And
so
Nikki, you know what the other part is that my dad hasn't been an active role in my life for 20 some years. So I don't have anyone above with wisdom or guidance or anyone, my best, hey, I need to fix something. I'm going to go YouTube it, not go ask my dad or my grandpa or something to get their wisdom and their involvement in my life. And it just is what it is at this point. But I feel that personally.
every man on earth feels that. I'm 58. I'll be 59 next month. Um, there's a man named Richmond, first name Steve in my world. I call him when I run into shit.
Yeah.
Um, I speak to him a couple times a week. Um, there's another man in my world who's younger than I am, but he's had a lot of experience in learning how to keep his cool
Yeah.
successfully. And for me, that's not been my strong suit. So I call him. His name is Banks, first name Jefferson,
Yeah.
and I speak to him uh, pretty regularly because whenever I speak to him, I learn about how to keep my cool and not
Hmm.
lose my cool in situations where it's not warranted for. And almost every situation it isn't warranted. So the whole point, like within Sovereign Man, there are men who have perspective skill sets that I just don't have. And
Right.
every
Of
man who's in
course.
that community is there for a similar reason. They want access to perspectives that they don't naturally have.
Yeah. It's very true because you only see the world through your own lens. And as much as you can widen it, you're still confined to this much. Whereas someone outside of you can see a different angle of you or your life. And as they get to know and understand, and you build those relationships with them, and they can call you out on your bullshit, or they can give you the advice or the wisdom to not fall into bullshit as well. So you can stay on the path that's best for you and that serves the people closest to you, and ultimately give back value to the world too, and not just be bogged down with whatever the problems, the challenges is are in life, because there are many. There are always and many. It's always going to be problems.
Yeah, 1000%. 1000%. So a man listening to this is going, well, what do I do? Well, first and foremost, you got to go find a good group of
Mhm.
men. There's a number of them that are available. I mean, in your local area, there's probably a Bible based one that's available somewhere. So if you're a Christian man, that's a good place for you to start.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm, our group, Sovereign Man, is at sovereignman.ca. You're interested in finding out about what we do and how we do it, you can go there and send a message and say, "Hey, I'd like to check out one of your meetings." And there's literally tons of other groups. But if you're by yourself primarily, or you have a peer group, but it's guys who mostly think the same, are the same, grew up the same, you, you want to
You're
do
in the
something about that.
Yeah,
That's the
you're in the
first.
wrong room.
Yeah, that's the first thing you want to do is do something about that. And what I'm finding today is men crave masculine only space. They crave it. They don't even know they crave it, but they crave it. I had Dr. Robert Glover on my podcast. He's the author of the book, No More Mr. Nice Guy. No More Mr. Nice Guy. Robert Glover is amazing. That book sold 25 million copies. I mean, it did
Wow.
really, really well. And he was the one who told me men are craving masculine only spaces, and most of them don't even realize it. But when they come into a masculine only space, that it's a good one, they just want to continue to be there. That's why I run the groups I run. I run Sovereign Man. I run a dinner mastermind uh, group that meets once a month. We charge $100 for men to come. It includes the price of the meal.
Right.
It's really good. Men love it. Like men are younger men, older men. They're all like, "Yeah, I want to be a part of this."
Yeah, it's awesome.
Truly is.
It's what do you see from let's go into a story so the guys can relate on this particular situation of where they're at when they start to as they start to get involved to they've been involved for a while. Is there a particular journey that you see commonalities in different phases of the process of being isolated and alone to having curiosity, joining, and then improving and getting more out of it?
Yeah. So when men come to us and they start with us, the first thing they're startled about is how direct
Yeah.
our communication is.
Yeah.
Because modern communication is very feminized, and it's not very direct. It's indirect because that's how women talk. And so when they're around us, they're like, "Holy crap, you guys are direct to the point of rudeness." I don't think we're rude. We're not at all rude, but we are
Right.
very direct.
Right.
So that's one thing that startles a lot of men. And after a while, they love it. They crave it. They want that
Right.
direct conversation. Some men just get too scared and they don't, and that's cool. We're not for everybody. We're not trying to change the mind of a beta soy boy. Well, we're really not. We just want to change, not even change the mind. We want to bring in people who believe what we believe, right? So
Hmm.
that's really, really important. And I'll tell you a couple of stories. So there was a man who
Yeah,
came and
please.
joined us, and he was broke and on unemployment slash welfare when I met him. He was with us for about a year and a half. Within 3 months, he was solvent. He was working and making money. Within a year, he had a full time job and a part time business, and he was making
Nice.
over 6 figures a year. And this dude was broke,
Right.
broke, right? And this was not a business group. We didn't coach him on business, blah blah blah. But I tell you, it was something special. It was something super, super, super special to see that happen for him. You know, um,
Yeah.
there's another man that I invited to this work, right? And he was a clerk in the grocery store, um, owned by his brother-in-law. Came to do our work within 6 months. Decided to go get his mortgage license. Within another 3 months, he quit working at the grocery store, and
Hmm.
now he has a multi-million-dollar a year company. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
kind of thing that can happen for a man out of being around a brotherhood of men, because those men are going to listen to him like what comes out of his mouth is serious, and they're going to push him to take action on it.
Right. Right. Ah, that's good, and I've seen that in my groups. Mine's obviously focuses around health, improving your health. But once we start to gain responsibility around what you eat and how you move your body, and it starts to drift out into the other areas of life. Had plenty of guys that have lifted up their relationships, got out of relationships, improved their job situation, started businesses, all sorts of different things that they felt restricted on or they couldn't do or they didn't have access to and because they just believed that was the way that it was. And as soon as we can get them to gain confidence and energy for themselves and stand tall in their own embodiment, then we see opportunity everywhere. So that's really awesome to see these things. What are some of the undertones or characteristics of someone who is, say, lonely, that is isolated? What are they doing? What are the patterns of behavior that you see, so that guys can even maybe self-identify here and start seeking out more uh, group brotherhood and manhood?
Well, they don't have any friends. They don't have any friends. That's the bottom line. They feel lonely. They spend a lot of Friday nights alone. Maybe they date, but there's nobody super serious in their life. Or
Yeah,
maybe they're
they're
even
swiping
married.
left or right, right?
Maybe they're even married and they got kids, but they got no men in their lives. They got no real friends. All they got is their family and they work their butts off.
Right.
They got no real friends. Like, look, I got friends I can call and go, "Oh, you want to go see a game? Let's go catch a game. I got friends, call them up and I go, yo, you want to go grab a bite? Let's go grab a bite. Let's talk.
Yeah.
There's guys who can't do that because they don't have that.
Right.
It's messed up if you think about it.
Mm. Yeah. 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 Very much so. Yeah, well, I invite my friends over here to work out and spend time together that way because it's a retreat from their everyday life. They don't health isn't as a priority as much as it is in my life, and that's fine. But we have lots of commonalities of our parenting. We have four kids, so like the top two have four kids, and so do I. So there's a
That's a
lot of
lot.
commonality. Yeah. So it's like getting them over here into this barn space where I have like a gym's worth of equipment. This is an escape for them. This is something different in their life that they can escape, and then we can step up to a higher level, push ourselves, and encourage ourselves with as connection and brotherhood that way.
100%.
That's
100%.
excellent.
It's a good thing that you got something like that going on.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, how does I know we talked about this too? Is how does health play into this? Because you've had some health changes in your life as well.
Look, if if you're a man and you let your health go to shit, you're setting a bad example for children if you got children.
Hmm.
You're reducing your lifespan and you're going to be unable to do the things that you really want to do because your health won't allow you to do that.
Right.
You know, I just think it makes sense for men to want to optimize their health. Health is life.
Yeah.
Your number
It's
one
literally.
priority as a man should be to have good health, good life, strength, physical capacity, physical capability. I mean, if somebody got hurt, could you pick them up in a fireman's carry and take them
Save them,
to safety,
pull them
right?
out. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of important, I think. Uh, if you're somebody who hasn't taken care of your health, ask yourself why the fuck not? Straight up.
Yeah, just yeah, look at yourself in the mirror and ask that question. Call yourself out. It's okay.
And you know, whatever the answer is, it's bullshit. It's a lie. It's an excuse. Whatever the answer is, and then ask yourself, do you want to die young? And if the answer is no, then do something about it.
Right.
Hire coaches. Like, I mean, um, I hired a coach February 23, helped me drop an initial 58 pounds,
Yeah.
and then got
It's
me to
huge.
do a bodybuilding competition a year after that. And then I committed to go get my pro card. So I'm now 2 years into that prep
That
journey.
journey. Yeah. 2
Um,
years, guys. 2
two
years. It's not
2 years
just
into the prep
yeah,
journey of the pro card.
right?
I'll be 59 next month. At 60, I can start competing for the card.
Yeah.
So I gotta work another year, and then I gotta win or place in 3 different types of competitions to get the pro card. So it'll be sometime in 2028 at the earliest that I'll get it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, I'm eating to pack on muscle now, so I'm not as light as I was, uh,
At
you
your
know, on
leanest, right.
stage or my leanest, and it's I'm not gonna lie to you, it's no fun eating a lot.
No, no, no.
I hate it. I
Yeah.
fucking would rather eat to get lean. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah,
Um,
the results show, and the results will show, but it's delayed gratification. On episode 133 with Jeremy Bacon, I talked with him, and this guy talked about how he had 5-year window blocks of his life, and you're here talking the exact same thing. And so, guys, recognize a pattern of behavior. If you're listening in here, it's not just what happens in the next week or in the day. We're talking about years of planning and preparation and delayed gratification to get to the outcomes that you want for your life. And packing on enough muscle to have the physique that's going to win a pro card, that takes years. It's not like, oh, like Men's Health magazine. I opened it up to this page and started doing the workout and I'm contest ready or something. It's not how it works. And especially if you haven't been working out for years, it takes a lot of time to build a physique that will place you into that category. So for Nicky, it's this is important to him. He's made it a priority, and it's a year's worth journey to do so. I just want to call that out. That's commendable.
Thanks. No, 100%. It's a journey. It's something that I'm on right now. There's a year and a half more to go minimum.
Yep.
Um, we'll we'll see what ends up happening, but it's no fun right now eating the gain. I don't enjoy eating the gain. I do enjoy leaning out. That's a
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
more fun process than
Oh
eating
yeah.
the gain, and I'm
Uh-huh.
very much um, very much dealing with the process.
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
not
you have a
in the
coach.
process of
You got a
anything real
blueprint.
soon. Yeah, I'm dealing with the
Yeah.
process. I'm
Yeah.
I'm, uh, doing what I gotta do, and I
And I'm
say to
sure your
anybody
coach
who's
calls
over
you
here
out.
saying
What
to
do you
anybody
say?
who's
Nicky,
over
eat
here,
more.
no, he doesn't need to. I do what he says.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
but
But if
he
you were to need to, he's just like, dude, this is the plan. Put some more food in your face. Let's go. Let's put some muscle
he
on you.
doesn't need he wouldn't do that. He'd fire me. The
Oh,
these this is a serious commitment.
yeah,
If you don't
that's
follow
awesome.
through with this level of coach, like,
Yeah,
if you're in the NBA, and you're
right.
playing
Oh yeah,
basketball and your coach says, "I need you to do this," and you don't do it, they trade you. They don't go, "Oh, no,
right,
no,
right.
that is not
No,
a."
no,
No, it's not
no.
that's not an issue.
Agreed. Agreed.
Process
That's
of
awesome.
the process of doing this, the process of training is, uh, for me to be on. I just do weekly check-ins,
Yeah,
and, he makes tweaks around the edges of what I do. If I'm having an issue with something or something isn't working, I also check in on that.
yeah.
But it's guys who are serious don't mess around.
Right.
They just don't. This
No,
guy
you
doesn't work
execute.
with people. Like, I sent him a friend of mine as a client, and he fired him after a month. Fired
Yeah,
my
like
friend.
this isn't gonna work.
No, he just said, "You're not doing what I'm telling you.
Right.
Thanks. Bye." You know?
Right.
And
Right.
my friend was like, "I can't believe that." I'm like, "Dude, I got you the best coach." The part of working with the best coach is you gotta do
Going
what he
through.
says. If you're not gonna do
Yeah.
what he says, he's not gonna work with you. And he says, what do you mean?" And I said, "Look, man, if if you were trying to play basketball and you were with a top level team, if Phil Jackson was your coach and he told
Yeah,
you to do
that's
that,
exactly the coach I
would
was
you
thinking of,
would
Phil
you fucking
Jackson.
say that? Would you tell him, "You know what, man, I forgot. I slept
Right.
in." No, you wouldn't do that
Oh,
because you wouldn't put up with that
forget
for a
that.
second.
No, this isn't gonna
No,
work.
no,
No.
no. That's that. That's a fact. That's a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much so. Now, with the the group, how long have you been running it? Like, what's the some of the evolutions that you've been like? Maybe give us a sneak peek behind the scenes of what goes on there, so the guys can actually get a taste of what this is and what it actually means. Because as we have been sharing, if you are alone, you have no clue what masculinity or manhood or brotherhood can be and the impact that it can have.
Well, I started running this in February 2018 with a fella that I had run some other programs with in men's work that were part of a different organization. And I just walked up to him and I said, "Look, um, I don't like how these guys are running things anymore. And I want to go start my own thing. Do you want to join me?" And he said, "Yeah, all right." Just like that. "Yeah, all right." And he's a
Yeah,
busy dude, right? He runs a
yeah,
multi-million-dollar company. He's got shit to do. He's a father with two daughters, blah,
right.
blah, 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 blah. He's got a lot on his plate. Um, but we started and we got 8, 9, 10 men. And the whole process was up and down for about 4 years.
Hmm.
And then 3.5 years in, I said, "All right, let's make some changes. Let's name the group.
Yeah,
Let's
right.
come up with a statement of purpose.
Right.
And I said, we're also going to start charging. I'm not going to do this for free anymore. 4 years for free was enough. And
Yeah. That is,
um,
yeah.
we started charging $50 a month, and or you could pay $500 for the full year in advance.
Right.
Um, so all right, shit happened. Um, we signed up a bunch of guys starting January 2022, and the idea was to grow this. And we grew it to a certain size, but we kept losing men. We kept bringing men on and kept losing men, up and
Yeah.
down. And I was just wondering why. And then we realized our standards weren't strong.
Uh,
So we started to raise our standards, right? The higher we
right.
raised our standards, the more structure we put in place, the better it got and the more men stuck with it, the right sorts of men.
Right. Right.
So, we've been as low as 11 men and we've been as high as 29 men. And we're right now at 25 men. But we've been on a pretty steady upward trajectory from the high teens to this 25 level for about a year. And I want to get us to 30, and I want to get
Hmm.
40 and then 50 and then 100. So to get to 30 right now, we need, five solid men who are going to come, who are going to like what we do, and who are going to stick with it. The price is up to $100 a month now, plus tax. Um, the men that we're looking to bring on are men who value other men, value being held accountable, and value doing what they say. So they're going to show up to meetings, because if you don't show up to meetings, man, you're not going to
Right.
last. You got to show
Yeah.
up to
Yeah. 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 100%.
that's the bare minimum. Like if you're coaching somebody in your work and they don't show up, I mean, after a while, it's just
Yeah. They fade. Yeah. It's guaranteed because
yeah.
it's not valuable. Totally
And you don't
understand.
want them. You don't want that kind of client. You want a client who's going to show up, do the
No.
work, refer
Yep.
you lots of people, right? Not some ghost. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Ghosting isn't cool. So um, when you come to meetings start with a check-in. So we have a process for checking in. A man's in charge, and everybody checks in.
Yeah.
And then after check-in, there's usually some level of content that we bring in. The content could be um, around relationships, around fatherhood, could be around success and making money. Doesn't really matter much, you know.
Right.
What matters is that we always have content that's of value to men, that's top of mind for men. And every meeting, when a man checks in, there's at least one man who checks in and isn't checking in very high. Like he's
Yeah.
like, something's going wrong in this world. So we'll go and do a deeper dive into his check-in. Right.
Okay.
So you
So
checking in for one,
triage in a
yeah.
sense.
Most men are checking in 8, 9, 10.
Hmm.
Man checks in at a 5. We'll go, okay, why'd you check in at a 5?
Yeah. You're on the hot seat now
Yeah,
in
why'd
a
you
good
check in
way.
at
In
a
a good
5?
way.
What's going on? And he
Right.
might just say, I'm sick. Otherwise, I'm fine. Okay, take care of yourself. If you need to go, leave, go to bed, whatever, do what you got to do. But if he says, my wife left me, and what my wife caught me cheating on her, I caught her cheating on me. My 15-year-old was caught doing marijuana in the school bathroom. My 15-year-old got his 15-year-old girlfriend pregnant. My 15-year-old daughter's pregnant by her 15-year-old boyfriend. Like shit like that happens, right? And
Yeah.
um,
No, thank you. I'm not
hey
interested
man,
in
you
that.
can say no thank you all you want.
Right.
It's
But
not
it
on you.
happens.
It's not on you, man.
Right.
So
Yep.
that's the sort of thing that will throw the entire agenda out the window so we can help that individual man. And
Right.
sometimes we can spend the whole meeting on one man or two men that are dealing with stuff. But
Right.
men leave there at least knowing that they're not on their own, and they leave there knowing that they can reach out to other men for help. And sometimes they get real resources that can help them deal with it and solve the problem.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's ultimately even with my stuff is solutions. We need to find solutions for the active daily life that you're living so that you can improve it and get
Yeah.
better. Very much
Amen.
so.
Amen.
Excellent. Excellent. So you have there's a lot of topics that go on in the group. and you're able
Tons,
to
bro,
really
tons.
facilitate a lot of positive transformation and connection in these guys' lives so that they can grow and just improve. And ultimately, the word that comes to my mind is have more agency, have more ability to self assess, to be able to be self reliant, and still have reliance on the group, but to just not run into I don't know if what the best way to call it, but like lower level problems. Like we don't want like some of the examples that you give just that shouldn't be in a relationship. If that's what you're doing in a relationship, then you should just leave it. Like, go get out
Well,
and move on or fix it and let's move on. So
every man's gonna go through something or another. You're
they
not gonna
will
live a problem-free life, and
never
you could be the best
agreed.
man, you could be the best man, you could have the best situation,
Right.
um,
Problems will find you.
problems will find you. It's not
Yeah.
not
Right.
something that's impossible, and, in this day and age, best you can do is go out there and surround yourself with good, like-minded men to help you navigate your way through them. But I have
Hmm.
problems. I
Yep.
mean, I told you when I spoke with you the other day, um, you know, I went through a stressful situation with in a business project that I was doing with someone else, and lack of sleep was a
Yeah.
result of that. Lack of
Right.
sleep led to my nervous system to just succumb to this bug that's going around. And I've had a stomach bug for a week. I've had
Yeah.
um I've had this I'm a carnivore, but you heard about this bug that's going around on
Yeah.
produce. So that
Right.
that that
Right.
has affected me. I've had an
Right.
infection. It is
All right.
nasty,
And if you're trying to eat and gain
tired,
muscle, you
all of that.
can if you have digestion issues. Period.
Well, I'm doing my best, but I'm a
Right.
mess, bro. Like I'm
Right.
telling you straight up, this is not my highest energy self. I'm
Right.
usually very high energy, and right now I'm
Right.
not. I'm just, when you and I are done today, I'm gonna go drink some water, take and I know normally don't take drugs, but I this infection is too strong to heal naturally. So I'm gonna take some antibiotics, which I've been taking daily. In a
Yeah.
couple hours, I'll take some magnesium, and I'm gonna crash for 2 hours, bro. I'm
Yeah.
just I and then I never
Different
do that during
season.
the day. I
Right.
never do
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
during the day, but,
Right.
um, I've reached out to the men in my community. I reached out to my health and fitness coach. I'm like, "What should I do?" And
Right.
they're like, "Go see a doc." Went to
Yep.
see a doc,
Get some more sleep.
get more sleep, went and got more sleep. I canceled a lot of meetings. Reason I
Right.
did this meeting with you today is I really liked our conversation yesterday,
Yeah.
and I thought,
Yeah. It was
you
quick,
know,
right?
I thought this is a good man, and I want to build
I
a
appreciate
business
that.
relationship with him. So yeah, let's do this. And I don't want to,
Yeah.
if I didn't do it today, you were about to leave, and
Yeah.
then I
Got a
was going to be
vacation.
available. It'd be three
Right.
weeks, and I go, you know
Yep.
what?
Let's just
That
go.
relationship
Let's
would
go.
have started and then fizzled out. So I said, screw it. Let's do like a 45
Let's,
minute podcast with this man. Let's book
yep.
our next conversation. And that's
Yep.
valuable. That's necessary. And all of
Yep.
that's possible because I know how to think that way, but I know how to
Right.
think that way because I got men that I bounce shit off of.
Right.
And I've
Right.
learned how to think by the wisdom of others, because on my own, I likely would have said, that sounds great, Ryan. I'm not feeling too good. Why don't we talk in 2, 3 weeks?
Right. Right.
And either me or you would have forgotten it by then. Let's face it. Life
I
gets
mean, we
busy.
would have booked it. I'm the type of guy who's like, let's book before we get off this call. So it would have
Maybe,
happened between
maybe,
you and
maybe
I.
you would have booked it. But
You
you
know,
understand what
we
I'm
got
saying? It's not
strong
the same.
magnetism, but
No, but
in
you
other
understand what I'm saying.
cases, you're right. It
You
wouldn't
understand what I'm
have
trying to say here is
I
that
totally.
left to my own devices, there would have been a certain
Oh
track
yeah,
I would
totally.
have gone on
Yep. Yep.
because I have had ongoing wisdom and advice
Right.
and feedback from men I
Right.
respect and trust. I made a different decision.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, totally. I got two guys in my group right now, Eric and Dom. They just joined. They're maybe a weekend. Both of them have travel within the week of joining. And I said, hey, regardless of if you're leaving your house and going somewhere else or not, you still have to figure out what you're doing with your food, with your nutrition, with taking care of yourself. Do you think you'll be healthier and better off when you come home with my guidance or without? And do we want to start now or do we want to delay it for 3 weeks? Like, you tell me, because I promise you, we will do our best to give you the experience that you want and feel good about it. Like, the guy's going on a cruise, great, let's have a really fun time, but going on cruise doesn't mean you have to stuff your face and come back 10 pounds heavier. That's not an enjoyable experience, especially when he has done that type of behavior for 20 years and he's 40 pounds overweight and he's got blood panel issues and his 14-year-old daughter's looking at him like an overweight father that can't kick a soccer ball around with her. Like, that's not it, man. So let's step up and figure out how to control yourself, make better decisions while we live life together. And that has to happen. So I commend both of those guys, Eric and Dom, for stepping up and just making things happen. And I see this pattern of behavior. The guys that take action start getting fruits of thy labor and the efforts that we make. And you see it too. It's like, let's go. Why wait? You've been waiting for years most of the time when I talk to people, and probably the same thing in your situation. You come across men, they've been waiting years to do something about themselves, and you can't just keep waiting, because that's the worst place to be at.
Amen, man. Well said. Well said.
No, it's excellent. Yeah, no, you and I would make this happen regardless. We got we're like magnets. We attract. So whether it would have happened today or the week after, that it would have still got booked and made happen. So I definitely know that.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Yep. So what is some parting advice you have for the guys listening in that need help, that whether they do or don't know they need help? Because self-awareness is the first level of the game that you have to play. Of being aware is just like, dude, you sit in your basement playing video games, scrolling on your phone all day long and have no interaction with people. You have to be aware that this isn't a life lived. This is just you existing and people mooching off your attention and your money.
Number one, and this is really, really important, you should find a group of men. You want to come check us out? We're at sovereignman.ca. Come to a meeting on Zoom. First meeting's free. See if this is something that resonates with you. That's the first thing. Number two, put your phone away a couple hours a day. Read, pray, talk to a human being. Like, have your phone be physically in another room when you do that for at least 2 hours a day. That's number two. Number three, take care of your health and fitness. Call Coach Brian if you are struggling, and get your butt in gear and do something about it. Those are my three pieces of advice.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Excellent. Excellent wisdom. Nicky, thanks for coming on, sharing your story. I know you shared it a couple times, but it has led you to a very solid place to be able to understand connecting with men and having a brotherhood, and having, even in your situation, direct to the point, leadership wisdom bestowed upon you, and being able to have access to guys that have a wealth of knowledge and experience to be able to give that wisdom to you, and you being open to receive it. And I think that's the underlying message here of guys listening in. If you're not where you want to be at, you need to surround yourself by better people and seek out different relationships that can start to help you fulfill on that, because everyone has problems. We all have challenges that we need answers to, and we can find that amongst other men that can help us and hold us accountable and get us to do the work that is necessary to develop the skills, the understanding, the behaviors, and ultimately the lifestyle that you rise up. And that's a message of mine. The call to rise is to rise up. And same thing with Nicky is we need you to step into a best version of yourself and keep refining that, because iron does sharpen iron. So Nicky, thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate you and our time and your story and your impact and everything. So I really appreciate it. And guys listening in, check the show notes for Nicky's. He's got a podcast, as well, Sovereign Man podcast. So let's start listening to his. He's been doing it for a lot longer than I have, a couple years. So there's a lot of episodes with a lot of good information there. And then take some action, do something. And if you need some help with your fitness, health, nutrition, then the Call to Rise is it. All right, off we go. Have a wonderful day. Catch you in the next episode.